Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Man, it's Friday. This is normally Focused Friday. So I want to talk about some things that I think that uh, people really need to focus on in general. And then you may find that there are some specific things in here that you also need to focus on. And I hope that by the time I finish this, won't be long, but I hope that the time I finish this, that you are really truly blessed. Before I do that, I want to point you to the description box, to the post box, wherever the written part of this content is. And there are going to be a couple of offers. I've always talked about the way that I reestablished my business after the economic collapse in the early 2000s, 2007, 2008, and how I rebuilt online. And I used that blueprint to create my course, 7-Day Online Business Launch, which shows you how to consistently create revenue streams online, not just your main primary passion, but any opportunities that you see, how to set it up, how to structure it, how to move through a step-by-step process. I've used this since 2010. So roughly 14 years I've been doing this, and I've rebuilt what was once lost. Man, I got hit hard, and I was able to rebuild step by step, and I teach you how to do that in that 7-Day Online uh, Business Launch course. That course is normally $607. Until today, until midnight, it is now $397. Also, I've talked to you a lot about the Mind Unleashed course. Your mind is going to set the course of your outcomes. It's real simple. Whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. Whatever you give attention to in thought, you're going to create. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. It's real. It's true. It's scientifically proven. I've written about it. I've lectured about it. I teach my clients, and I teach others how to teach. But it's unavoidable. You need to know how to master those thoughts. A lot of people are held in check because of limiting beliefs, things that they've collected in their thought processes and belief systems that limit what they believe they can do in this world. And those beliefs govern their behaviors. It governs their thought patterns, their habitual behaviors, and so much more. And I show you in this course how to get out. That course again is normally 600, regularly $607. It's $397. Also, for people who want to jump on both sides, because success, whether you're talking money, whether you're talking business, whether you're talking relationship, whether you're talking life in general, is 80% psychology, 20% planning and strategy. If your mindset isn't right, I don't care what kind of plan you have, what you got going on, it's not going to work out for you. So I've combined them just for today in a 2-course bundle. That 2-course bundle is only $5.99. So for less than the price of one course, you get both. The opportunities in there. We also offer Afterpay, so you can actually through Afterpay break that down into up to 4 payments. So that's an opportunity for you. Don't miss the opportunity. Now let's talk. Man, if I had to come up with one reason why people don't succeed, why people are in places in their lives where they feel they haven't accomplished the things that they set out to do. If I had to sit down and I had to really truly give one reason, there are a bunch of different reasons, but they can be categorized into several categories. But I would say the primary reason is procrastination. They never start, or they say they're going to start. I have literally taken on people when we start to break down and we open up and we go back and we look at their calendar, we look at their to-do list, we look at things that they said they wanted to do, things they literally actually took time to write down or type. And there are people with stuff on their calendar that was supposed to be done 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And every day they push it off. Every week they push it off. Every month they push it off. And what they're waiting on is the perfect timing. When so-and-so gets out of school, when I finally get this done, when that gets done, or they are hiding behind fear. So they're waiting for the right feeling. It doesn't feel right. It's not going to feel right. Anytime you're trying to do something that you've never done before, you're going to have a feeling of uneasiness. It's called a lack of familiarity. It's, I don't know this place. I'm stepping into a place that is nuanced to me. It isn't what I'm used to. And so I'm going to feel some kind of way. That is normal. If you're not feeling that way, you're not growing. If you're not having that uneasy feeling of a lack of familiarity, where this is a new space, I'm occupying and moving into a new space and it doesn't feel comfortable. You have to feel that. That's a part of growth. If you don't place yourself in spaces that you've never been before, you'll never go anywhere else but where you've been. The problem is, in some, one of the problems that I see consistently is people consulting their past in order to make new moves in the future. You're consulting your past to ask your past for permission to do something that you've never done before, and your past doesn't have the capacity or ability to give you that permission, because your past can only give you what you've done. And if you're trying to do something new, your past has no answers for you. The newness is created in the ability to step outside of the normal, step outside of what's expected, use your imagination and your creativity. God gave it to you for a reason. It's not just for daydreaming and fantasies. It's for literally laying out outcomes and seeing ideas and seeing possibilities and exploring new things within your mind. Because if I can conceive it in my mind, that's God's evidence that it's possible. And when you start to understand the power in what you are exploring in your mind, and you start to consistently explore it. This is what happens when you allow procrastination to reign in your life. You literally are sacrificing precious time and opportunities. That's what procrastination is. Procrastination is the thief of time and opportunity. You're literally a lot. Let me tell you something. You've heard me say this before. You have 86,400 seconds in a day. A significant part of that is going to be spent sleeping and resting and recovering, so that you're able to mentally, emotionally, and physically carry out the task of every day. So that's going to be a part of it. But the time that you are awake, it needs to be given to something. Not all of it needs to be work and grinding and all of that. You need to be invested in your loved ones, invested in recovery and rest, invested in developing and building a better body. You need to be the best version of yourself. And this means that you have to optimize your 86,400 seconds. How are you optimizing it? What are you doing? Well, I can tell you, how you spend that 86,400 seconds each day is going to determine the outcome of your life. If you let time pass by as if you have an infinite amount of it, you will one day wake up and realize you have very little left, and you've accomplished very little, because you haven't given yourself to doing the things that are absolutely necessary to have the things that you say you absolutely need to and want to have. It's about taking this first step. It's about saying, I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to move into this new space. I'm going to do this new thing. I'm going to have these things that I've never had before. I'm going to increase my net worth. I'm going to start a new business. I'm going to advance my career. I'm going to build better and stronger relationships. I'm going to open up my life and live in a way that is reflective of my design. I'm going to live life at the level of my design. I'm going to elevate myself daily. One of the things that one of my mottos, and one of the things that I live by, is my motto, one that I literally engage every day. I say it multiple times a day. I write it multiple times a day. No 0 days, no excuses. What does it mean? It means that I control my growth. I don't control every circumstance, but I control my growth. And I can literally determine in my life that every day I'm going to be a better person when I go to sleep than I was when I woke up. That means something will have changed in me. And the one way that I can always control that is, I can always control how my revenue streams are flowing in my businesses. I can't always control how my relationships are going with my friends and loved ones. But what I can control is the knowledge that I take in and the experiences that that I explore that make me wiser, that make me better, that make me more knowledgeable, that add to my expertise, that make me more effective and impactful in the lives of the people I come in contact with. See, I've given to growth. And if I give into growth, if I'm given to growth, what happens is over time I expand. Over time I become bigger and stronger. I become wiser. I become more able to do the things that I desire to do. And then I am able to move forward. So every day it's the little incremental steps. It's not the grand leaps and jumps that you experience periodically that change your life. It is the small steps that are going to be the things that get you. And see, that's the problem. People don't like the incremental, slow progress. People want it now. We live in a microwave society. So I start something, even if I don't procrastinate, I start something. But if in a few weeks, a few months, or a year, it hasn't happened, then I sit up and I give the excuse to it must not be in God's will, or the devil sure is busy, and you put it down. No, this is about finishing. This is about picking up something and saying, I'm going to walk it out until it's done. I'm going to continue on until it's finished. I started it. If I say I want it, I'm going to go until I get it. I'm either going to get it or I'm going to die trying. And literally, that's the way I live my life. I don't allow delay to diminish my passion and stop me. Delay does not mean denial. I've learned that over and over again. Normally, delay means press. It means stand. It means hold on. It means whatever you do, don't give up. But delay does not mean denial. If it's something good that I'm pursuing, if it's something impactful that I'm pursuing, if it's something that's going to bless my lives and the lives of the people I come in contact with and that depend on me, then it will not be withheld from me. No good thing shall be withheld. Nothing shall be impossible. Then what's going on? Why can't I have it? It's because I've got to press through some things. I've got to press through some fear. I've got to press through some uncertainty. I got to press through some doubt. I got to press through some old memories of some past failures. I've got to press through some things that are holding me back. And when I start to press through, I find that on the other side of that fear are some pretty remarkable things. On the other side of that doubt are some pretty remarkable things. On the other side of that delay are some pretty remarkable things. But I've got to press through those things. We've got to stop standing, waiting on the perfect timing. It doesn't exist. We got to stop standing, waiting on the perfect opportunity. That's something you create when you sit up and you step out into that moment. Faith is about stepping into the darkness. It says faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So faith is that thing when I can't see it, I step into it, trusting that it's there. And then that's when God's providence, the way he designed this universe, the universe opens up and starts to respond to your movement, to your thinking, to the way that you handle. The universe has no option but to conspire with you when you make up in your mind to move. The universe can't resist you. Now, there are going to be things in between you. Those obstacles can't stop you. The very definition of destiny says the more that anything or anyone tries to stop it, they only ensure that it happens. That's the definition of destiny. It's destined. The only one that can stop what you're destined for is you. By quitting, by taking another route, by avoiding the confrontation and resistance that is in front of you. Don't avoid it. Stand in it. Push in it. My grandfather's greatest lesson to me came at the age of 17, and he taught me consistently. I am so grateful for the time I had him in my life. But he told me, son, and you probably heard this story before. If you have, just forgive me. But he said, son, sit down. I want to tell you something. He says, I try to give you everything that I have. I want you to be a better man than me. I want you to achieve things that I only saw in my mind. I want you to do that. I know you can do it. He says, well, let me tell you something. You got to be prepared. He said, in this life, you're going to be in one of three places. It's real simple. You don't have to complicate it. You're going to be in one of three places. You're either going to be in a storm, you're either going to be entering a storm, in a storm, or coming out of a storm. It's real simple. You're either entering a storm, in a storm or coming out of a storm. He said, your first inclination is going to be to turn around and try to find somebody to blame for being in the storm, for being in this horrible, difficult moment. This is what you're going to want to do. He said, don't waste your time. You need to at some point know and understand how you got there. But finding someone to blame because he says 90% of the time it's you. You either made a bad choice, you let somebody into your life and got too close that shouldn't have been there. You did some things, some kind of way you were in control at some moment, and something you did got you there. Don't worry about it. That's not the thing you need to be focused on. He said the thing you need to be focused on is that when you're in the storm, make sure that you come out of the storm a better man than when you went in. If you do that, son, you won't have to chase greatness. It'll overtake you. If you just constantly allow the storm to shape you, constantly allow the storm to groom you, constantly allow the storm to empower and strengthen you, you're going to realize that I've been through some things, but I'm better for it. You're going to realize that you're going to get to some points where you're going to look and say, man, I made it. After a while, the confidence to take on the challenges has grown. And now you're not shaken by delay. You're not shaken by disappointment and frustration. You're not shaken by setbacks. Why? Because you know I'm built for this. Stop procrastinating. Stop putting it off, thinking that there's going to be a better time. You have to seize the moment. You have to sit up and make up in your mind that no matter what, I'm going to step out here and I'm going to go get it. I'm going to move forward in this thing. God gifted me to be a blessing. God gifted me to be great. God gifted me to be extraordinary and phenomenal. God doesn't do mediocrity. God doesn't do average. God doesn't just sit up and say, okay, just exist, just survive, just go out there. God, and I mean, if you're supposed to be a representation of how awesome God is, how is you meandering through the maze of mediocrity representing God? What does it's when you sit up and you have all these things that say you shouldn't, but you do it anyway. That's a representation of God. When everybody's looking to say, well, he came from a 15-year-old mother and an absent father, and they say, but look what he did. That's God. That's the thing inside of you that your environment can't steal from you. Now, it can distort it. It can sit up and cover it. You can have some things in your past, like trauma, like disappointment, like failure, like poverty, like a bunch of other things that are laying on top of it. But when you peel those layers off, that gift is sitting there, dusted off, because next to that gift is the promise of your purpose. And next to that promise of your purpose is the power to execute. I'm trying to get you to understand that where you are is not where you're supposed to be. I don't care how good it feels. There's something greater. God is calling you through your very design to do something exceptional, to do something phenomenal, to do something extraordinary. You are being called to stand up and move up to the next level in your life. It's your responsibility to the designer to live at the level of your design. It's time to stop procrastinating. Look, the worst thing that I've seen in my line of work is having to go counsel someone who has been advised or has become aware that their end is near. But I've seen several types of people when I've done this, and it's spoken to my spirit. I've seen the person who walked life like it was supposed to be walked. They left nothing out there. They left no stone unturned. And the peace that's within them when you're talking to them, it's like I did what I was here for. I'm ready. And it doesn't matter what age they're at. They're ready. They came, they did what they had to do, and they learned lessons. They taught lessons. They became. And it's a peace. Then there are the person that just doesn't even know what's going on, and they're just completely lost and they're totally scared. But the thing that is the saddest to me is the person who has the look of regret. And when you look at them, they know they left something out there. They know they didn't deliver on what they were supposed to do. And there's this regret that they left it undone. Um, Dr. Miles Monroe used to say that the wealthiest place on this planet is the cemetery. There you'll find books not written, companies not started, inventions not done, business relationships and bonds not created. And I made up in my mind a long time ago. That's why you hear me say at the end of my videos, at the end of my speeches and my lectures, that I live my life on full so that when I die on E. What I'm saying is I'm not leaving my potential untapped. I give every day what's owed that day. I don't put off for tomorrow what I'm supposed to be doing today. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go get it. Some days are easier than others. I'm not out here for ease. I'm out here for reward. And see, that's something you've got to make up in your mind. What are you willing to do in order to get what you say you want? What's the distance you're willing to go? How much of yourself are you willing to give to it? How long are you willing to fight through it? Those are the questions. My challenge is stop procrastinating. Okay, so you've got to start. I don't care what it is. Take the first step. Make a phone call. Get your DBA. Sign up for a class or a course. But you've got to make a move. Look, if you want to take advantage of what I have to offer, I would love to work with you one-on-one. There's an email in there, address if you want to work one-on-one, because I didn't put that in there. Email the support team and ask them what it takes to work with me. But for those of you who want to get started on a little lower of a plane and a little more affordable, those offers in the description box. The Mind Unleashed course is regularly $607. The 7-day online business launch course is regularly $607. They're both now until midnight, $397, or you can get both of them for $599, and we do offer afterpay. But whatever you do, you got to get started. You've got to get started. You know, I just announced the release of my 28th book, Healed and Hold. To get to 28, I had to write the first paragraph. No, the first sentence of the first book, which was actually an extension of the first article I got published nationally, The Invisible Father. My first book is The Invisible Father, Reversing the Curse of a Fatherless Generation, which is a reflection of the fact that I never knew my dad. And all of the things that come out of that and the impact of absentee fatherhood. And then it just went from there. But it started with that one article as a teenager in journalism. And my journalism teacher, who happened to be the wife of my football coach, God rest her soul, she passed away a couple of years ago. She said, hey, I think it'll be cathartic for you to write about absentee fatherhood. Do the research and write the article, and I'll help you get it published outside of the school paper. And she did. And I've been writing ever since. But I had to write that first sentence of that first book before I could ever think about closing the last chapter on book number 28. Same thing with the companies I started. I had to get that first DBA. I had to sit up and get the training of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. I had to get a mentor that could teach me the things I needed to know. But I had to start. And so it's time for you to start. No matter how old you are, God is a redeemer of time. Get out of your shell, stand up, walk out, and make something happen. The world needs you to shine. On that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. You guys, again, as I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. And I challenge you to take on the same mindset. Give life what it's owed, and it will return to you what you desire. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day. I hope to be hearing from some of you soon. Take care.